All right, welcome everyone to Mike Goes Live. This is the live stream where I forget to tell people on my Twitter that I went live, and I just remembered that. But that's fine because you know what? This is for YouTube, and I'm here to talk about things because a lot of exciting things are going on right now. That's right, we got the Switch OLED dropping this week along with Metroid Dread. All right, I'm mad excited about it. We got the rumored MacBooks. Valve might be working on a new VR headset. I don't know. It's crazy right now. I quit my job this week. Like all kinds of crazy stuff is going on. The last thing is not really that big of a deal. I'm on my 2 weeks notice. I got a new job, y'all. I got a new job, but it's cool. All right, it's fine. It's fine. But to start off the top of the show, this is probably going to be one of the last live streams that I do ever again on a Wednesday night. I had to channel a little bit of Chris Jericho there, if y'all watch wrestling. But my new schedule, once I roll out that new schedule, my new job, I'm going to be working nights. So I'll be working Wednesday night, which is actually better because since I'm going to be working in the afternoon, that means that I could actually do morning streams. So if it's like an Apple event or any kind of event that happens during the day, I won't be working anymore. I'll be sleeping, but I can force myself to wake up and watch the event and then live stream right after, which I think will be really cool. So that will be a new opportunity. So you might see some Wednesday morning, like as soon as you wake up, you're like, why is this guy live streaming on Wednesday morning? Like, why? That's going to be why. It's because I'm going to have the opportunity to bring upon new media. All right, new media well, it's not new media because I'm still gonna be on the same media, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be new. It's a new time slot. I have to periodically change time slots. I don't even remember when my news video used to be. I think it used to be Thursday, and then it moved to Saturday, and now it's on Sunday. And then my week video used to be on Tuesday, and then it moved to Wednesday for some reason. I don't even remember why I switched days now. I know it was job related too, but yeah, I'm still here doing my thing. And this week, I didn't really have anything that I wanted to talk about in particular or anything that I wanted to do a video on. So I just wanted to talk about some loose things that have been out there because my news videos lately have been more focused. Before I used to just grab all the news and just talk about it, but now that it's more focused, there's a lot of things that I know about that I don't talk about. So we're going to hop into some of these stories that have been on the back burner. Some of them I've talked a little bit about, but I wanted to put a more of a spotlight on it because some of these things are happening soon. So let's actually start off with the MacBook Pro rumors. So they're supposed to be supposedly, now this is definitely a rumor because what are we like? Okay, we're only 6 days into October. For some reason, I'm thinking it's like the middle of the month. So we're already 6 days into October. Apple just had the iPhone slash iPad slash Apple Watch event. So, they could possibly have. Hold on, my camera just went out. Did it stop recording on me? It did. I have a janky setup where I have to like record in order for it to stay on because this is an older camera. So it just doesn't naturally stay on itself. I gotta be recording y'all. And yeah, it's really ghetto. I should just not use it. I have a newer camera that I could use, but I just don't. So anyway, now that my camera's not cutting out anymore, the rumor is they're gonna do their October event, and we're gonna get to see the new MacBook Pros. So, and I just started moving myself around the OBS. Okay, that's fine. So the thing is, we've had the M1 MacBooks for like a year now. The M1s came out and they were super impressive on the lower end. But now people want to see, like, they're like, what about the high end? What can Apple do on the high end of the spectrum? So now we're about to see, possibly, it's all rumors, the higher end MacBook Pros. Because typically with the 13-inch, they'll have like the lower end ones with the lower spec Intel processors, at least they did before, and then they would have the higher end 13-inch MacBook Pros that would run the same processors as a 16-inch. So they released the 13 and then the MacBook Air, the lower end iMac, and the lower end Mac Mini. So the rumor is we're going to get that higher end iMac, the higher end 13-inch MacBook Pro, and that's going to crawl up to a 14-inch, and then we're going to get the 16-inch with the rumored M1X chip. So basically, this is really going to be the real test of Apple Silicon, in my opinion, because they're really competing with the high-end processors at that point from Intel and AMD, and it is really competitive on the high end. So I'm really curious to see what they can do. Obviously, on the lower end, they kind of dominated with the M1. No one expected it to be that competitive with Intel's processors. Like, Apple talked up a big game, but I was like, you know what? We'll see what happens when it comes out. And then the performance kind of spoke for itself. So I'm wondering what kind of performance they're going to have versus a Core i7 or a Core i9 laptop. Like, what can Apple do with the hardware and software integration? So that's what I'm curious about personally. And of course, the 14 going up to the 13 going up to 14 inches for the high-end model. That'll be a little bit interesting because at that point next year, are they going to do a lower end 14-inch MacBook Pro? Or are they going to keep the lower end 13 inches and still use the old design? In my opinion, I think they should just go ahead and move everything up to 14 for the MacBook Pro, and then the Air can stay at 13 to kind of further differentiate the two. Especially now, like with this last release, with the MacBook Pro and the Air both running the M1, like there wasn't really much of a reason, in my opinion, to buy the MacBook Pro. Like, yes, technically it had a fan, so it could do a little bit better on sustained loads, but like day-to-day usage, you probably wouldn't notice a difference, especially if you didn't have like a workload like video editing or something like that where you're really going to be pushing it like that or on a constant basis with a sustained load. So I think to further differentiate the Air and the lower end MacBook Pro, they probably should bring the whole line to 14 inches if they do this. Of course, the other part of the rumor is they're going to have micro LED screens like the new iPad, which would make a lot of sense, like the 12.9 inch iPad Pro. So yeah, I think 14 inches across the board for the MacBook Pro. The Air should stay at 13, and then maybe they should do some crazy colors or something like that. Because you know how Apple, with the cheaper stuff, they like to do colors, and they like to make it exciting. The colors, people get excited for the colors. Like, it's crazy, all right? It's just simply crazy. The colors make it exciting. I don't know how else to explain it. But, yeah, I really think that, I don't know. I don't know if really feel like we're going to get that this year. It's just, we're so close to the end of the year now. But then again, I think the M1s last year launched pretty late, so we could. I'm just interested to see what they do. Personally, I'm not really a Mac computer guy. I have my MacBook Air, the early 2020 model before Apple Silicon transition, and it works fine. I'm not really looking to replace it. If I replaced it, it would be with an iPad, which I already have, which at that point I would just get rid of it. But there's one particular thing that I'm waiting for, and if you follow my channel, you know what that is. And I'm waiting for Logic Pro to come to the iPad Pro, and then I'll be done with the MacBook at that point. That's literally the only thing I have it for. So I'm not personally interested. I prefer to have my Windows desktop that I build, and I can kind of change out the parts. But I understand why a lot of people like MacBooks or Mac computers in general. You know, to each his own. There's just not particularly for me. Now let's hop over completely to the iPad Mini. So I was actually thinking about talking about this in the news video, but I didn't. And that is the new iPad Mini screen issue. Well, it's not really an issue, so Apple claims. So basically there is a problem where it does this, like, it kind of does what they call jelly scrolling or jelly tearing, where the screen, like, you notice the screen looks kind of like jelly-like when you're scrolling. So this is the clip from the iFixit video that's out there right now, and it kind of shows, like, in slow motion how it looks. And you can see here it's kind of like scrolling unevenly, or it was. This is actually the iPad Air they were showing just now. So this is the Mini, and you can see like how bad it is on the Mini. And then this is the iPad Air. It's pretty even all the way down, but they did mention, so this is the iPad Air in landscape. That was only a short clip. So in landscape mode, the iPad Air has similar issues, which is not really an issue. It is a characteristic of LCD screens, but it just seems to be more pronounced on the iPad Mini for some reason. And they're saying that it might be due to the way that some of the hardware is put in there. or the way that the board was configured with the LCD, basically. So I think, and by the way, Apple's is kind of like, yeah, this is just a characteristic of LCD screens. That's pretty much their response to it. So yeah, I think it kind of sucks though, because I was hyped about the mini. I mean, personally, if I really wanted a mini, would that keep me from buying it? Probably not. I mean, it might be noticeable sometimes, but I don't think it's. Everything seems like a bigger deal online. Like with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro that I have with the backlight bleed, like it's definitely noticeable sometimes. Like I notice it, but it really doesn't ruin the experience. Like the main time I notice it is like if I pause a video and it has like a white bar at the bottom or a white play button, you'll see a lot of blooming around it. And yeah, that does suck, but overall it's such a good device. Like that minor thing doesn't bother me that much. And you're talking about something that I paid like $1,200 for, so me personally, I think as long as your expectations are there, as long as you know what the issues are, that wouldn't deter me from buying it. But it does kind of suck that this is overshadowing the redesign of the Mac Mini, which really needed a redesign for a long time. And I think it looks really cool. Like I said, personally, it wouldn't stop me from buying it, but I understand why people might be deterred after seeing that, like scrolling, the scrolling thing. And obviously, since it's partially because of the way it's designed, it's probably not going to change. If they do fix it or improve it, it'll probably be like, in a few months they'll do like a revised version of it if they plan on trying to fix it at all. But they won't like make a big deal about it. It'll just be like, oh, all of a sudden it's fixed, or all of a sudden it's better in this version, in the newer iPad Mini. So yeah, it's not a big deal. It just, like I said, it just kind of sucks. It kind of puts a blah over the whole iPad Mini launch. But let's move on. We had our little Apple talk. I didn't want to spend the whole time on Apple because we got a lot to celebrate. All right, we got a lot to celebrate. We got the final Kingdom Hearts character. All right, the final one, and it's gonna be Sora. Now I know y'all hyped. Sora, Keyblade Master. For some reason, I already assumed was in the game, but that's because they have so many Final Fantasy characters, and I know that Sora is not from Final Fantasy; it's from Kingdom Hearts. But there's a lot of Final Fantasy characters in. Well, not a lot, but there's some Final Fantasy characters in there already in Smash. So I was like, Sora. I was like, wasn't he already in the game? And then I was like, wait a minute, no, he's not. I mean, I play Smash occasionally, and I haven't even unlocked all the characters. So forgive me for thinking that Sora is already in the game, but the reason that I'm even talking about it today is because they also announced that they're bringing the Kingdom Hearts trilogy to the Nintendo Switch, which I was like, cool. So, the catch. Now, here's the catch. So, these are going to be the cloud versions of the game. And I thought this was interesting, especially because it's Kingdom Hearts. I mean, we've seen some other cloud versions of games come to the Switch, but this is kind of big. Like, I definitely feel like the games before 3 could have run on the Switch. And 3, I think the graphics aren't amazing on Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't play them. Jeff plays them a lot, so I've seen quite a bit of gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3, just from it being played in the house. And it's not that the graphics are like mind blowing or anything. I feel like if they scaled it down, they could have made it work on the Switch. But then again, that PC port of the game was just kind of awful. So maybe they just didn't want to risk trying to pay somebody to port the games and then have it be garbage. And they were just like, look, this cloud version is what you get Nintendo. And Nintendo's like, okay, whatever. We put Sora in the game. We get Kingdom Hearts on the Switch. I don't know. I think it's an interesting proposition on the Switch. Just cloud gaming in general. Just because, like, that is the reason to have the Switch, is to have that, in my opinion, that native experience that you can really play anywhere. And having games be cloud-based really limits where you can play them because you have to have a good connection, especially on the Switch, because it's not like the Switch has a built-in modem. It doesn't have LTE or, 5G or anything like that. So you're kind of stuck to either Wi-Fi or a hotspot, and I wouldn't even want to risk trying to play a game tethered off of a hotspot. So I think that if this is like a thing that's going to happen more frequently on the Switch, they should come out with like a cellular version of the Switch. Maybe that could be something if they come out with the Switch Pro or the upgraded model of the Switch that's a little bit more pricey. That's maybe something they could throw in there. Because, yeah, I think that we're getting to the point, especially if you want to bring some of these games to the Switch, and, you know, obviously Nintendo's fine with the streaming thing, then we do need to kind of be connected all the time. So I think it's time. It's time for them to bring LTE to the Switch. Or maybe they'll save it for their next console. Who knows? I mean, they can't just give everything away on the Switch. I mean, as much as I love the Switch and I want it to last as long as possible because I'm still enjoying it, I think that they probably want to save some stuff for their new system. And of course, I am going to try to fight to get a Switch OLED this week, but I don't think it's going to happen. It seems like that thing is pretty popular. I definitely won't be able to get a white one. Like, if anything, I might get like the regular blue and red one, but the white one, people are going to be fighting tooth and nail for that. I might get bit even trying to go out and get one, so I'm just going to stay in the house and try to see if I can get one online for store pickup or something. I don't know. I don't want to get attacked by y'all. I'm just going to stay in the house. So that's all I wanted to cover as far as the Nintendo part. I just thought it was interesting that they're doing another cloud-based game, especially like a bigger one, like Kingdom Hearts. All right, so the other thing that I want to talk about today, which was also in the title, because, you know, I gotta make it dramatic. I gotta save the best for. Well, I wouldn't even say the best. It's just kind of. This is another rumor. So let's talk about Deckard. So I was just looking at this article earlier on Upload VR, because, you know, I gotta stay up my VR stuff. I love VR. I don't play it as much as I should, but I'm an early investor, and I really love VR. So I'm kind of excited about this. If it turns out to be true, it's Valve, so who knows if they'll ever come out with this. I mean, it doesn't really seem too out of the way considering they already have the Valve Index, like they already have a VR headset. But it's rumored that they're working that they're working on a standalone VR headset with a wireless VR link, kind of like what Oculus is doing with the Quest. Like they have Oculus Link wireless now with the Quest 2, and it's a standalone headset, etc. So yeah, there's not really a lot of details here other than the fact that there's rumors that they're working on it pretty much, and there's a patent filed for like a head strap, and they found some code referencing a Wi-Fi 6 driver, and there's not like a lot of meat here. The reason I really want to talk about it is I'm not the hugest fan of Facebook. All right, I'm putting it out there. Facebook is not like the best company to me. You know, I live with it because I like my Oculus Quest, and I have friends that I talk to on Messenger. But yeah, their practices are kind of shady. But they have, in my opinion, the best VR headset for value at least. I mean, obviously it's not the best quality VR headset that you can buy, but it's standalone and you can connect it to PC. You can play Oculus games, you can play Steam games, you can pretty much play any VR game on it for $300, as well as standalone. And like once you go standalone and you have that experience where you don't have any wires attached, you're like, wow. And then now they have the wireless link to PC, and you're like, wow, it's mind blowing. Like I got the Quest 2, and I just got the Quest 1 like a year before, and I was like, wow, this is still mind blowing. How are they doing this for so cheap? Well, I know how they're doing it for so cheap. They're trying to get people to go to their ecosystem and create Facebook accounts, but that's not the point. The Oculus Quest 2 is great. I love the Oculus Quest 2. I still recommend it to anybody. You know, everybody's going to feel differently about Facebook. So if you don't care about, you know, Facebook and all the stuff going on with them, then sure, just definitely get a Quest 2 if you're interested in VR. But if Valve can come in and compete with them directly, I think it'll be really interesting. Like, there's nobody that's really trying to compete with Oculus or slash Facebook technically with the standalone VR stuff in a meaningful way. And I think, especially with the Steam Deck coming out, you know, Valve has a real chance to compete with them. But I don't think that they would compete with them on the budget. And I think they would try to do like a high-end version of what Oculus is doing with way better hardware. I mean, look at the Valve Index. They made that as like a centerpiece to be like, this is what a VR headset should be. So I think that's probably what they would do with the standalone, is probably make a high-end version of it, which I'm all down for. Like, the reason that I wouldn't spend $1,000 on a Valve Index is not because I don't think it's like one of the best headsets that you can get, but I think having a standalone option plus being able to play PC games is more compelling than spending $1,000 on a headset, which I can only use with a PC, and I'm still going to be wired. So, yeah, if they can make a product like that, even if it was $1,000, just to give people a high-end option, another option other than going with Oculus and Facebook, I think that would be awesome. Like, honestly, I might have to save up and go ahead and get it. So we'll see if anything comes of this rumor. Obviously, Valve's probably not going to announce anything right now with the Steam Deck still pending, still on the cusp of coming out. And I'm excited for that. Like, they actually released a video with this Steam Deck teardown to show you how to take it apart. Obviously, they caution you against doing it. I was going to talk about it in more detail, but I barely got a chance to watch the video before I started the live stream because I just got home from work. So I'll probably save that for, a sensational Sunday this week. Probably one of the things that I cover, or maybe the only thing that I cover, but we'll see if anything else pops up this week. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what Valve does, because they are just in a position where they can stand to lose money. Like, they'll do something, they'll do some products that are like weird, or maybe a lot of people will buy them, like the Valve Index, but they're great, and they lose money on it because it doesn't sell. They're kind of in a position where they only do passion projects just because of the kind of company they are now versus where they used to be back when they're just a game developer. But yeah, that's what I wanted to go over today. Just a few tidbits of things that I could ramble about that I don't usually do on video, because I like it to be, more contained, more confined and refined. And then I cut out all the mistakes that I make while I'm recording the video and repeating things 8,000 times. But yeah, that's it. If you're able to make it and hang out with me, I really do appreciate it. I will be back on another sensational Sunday, and I'm going to be on the hunt this week. I'm getting something new, all right? I'm getting something new. I'm hunting this week. I want that Switch OLED. That's my main focus. I probably won't get it, but I'm going to try. And I'll be back. And you'll find out on Sunday if I got one or not. You probably won't. But as always, remember to do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace. I always do this on the stream. I always like, okay, peace, and then I gotta go hit the end stream button. But I'm gonna hit end stream, and it's gonna be like, are you sure you want to end the stream? No, either hit not yet or end. And I'm just gonna hit end, and it's just gonna end the stream right in the middle of my talking.